Have you ever found yourself just sitting quietly, staring out the window, and suddenly wondering, why does everything feel so different now? Not just slower, but quieter, lonelier, even a bit invisible? You're not alone in feeling that way. Reaching your 80s is a milestone, one many people don't get to see. And yet, no one really prepares you for what this chapter actually looks and feels like. Everyone talks about how to live longer, but no one talks about how to live better once you've crossed 80. That silence, it can be heavier than aging itself. Let's be honest, getting older isn't always graceful. It's not just the gray hair or the slower steps. It's waking up to a world that's changing too fast, while you feel like you're being left behind. It's looking around and realizing many of the people you once called or visited, your childhood friends, your siblings, your neighbors, aren't here anymore. And somehow, even in a house full of people, you can feel like the quietest person in the room. But here's the thing. This stage of life is not just about aches and losses. It's about learning to live again differently. It's about facing the truth of where we are, with honesty, with courage, and with a touch of humor too. Because if there's one thing that can never be taken from us, it's the wisdom we've earned through every wrinkle and every memory. Now, one of the hardest realities after 80 that no one really warns you about is the shrinking of your social circle. You might not even notice it at first. It starts slowly. A friend stops calling. A cousin moves away. A spouse passes. And suddenly, that vibrant web of connection you spent a lifetime weaving, it starts to feel like a threadbare net. And the silence that follows, it can echo through your entire day. Mrs. Zubair, a lovely 84-year-old lady from my neighborhood, once told me that the loneliest part of her day isn't when she's home alone. It's when she sits at the dinner table and sees the two empty chairs where her husband and sister used to sit. She said, "No one tells you that grief doesn't just visit. It moves in and becomes your roommate." That struck me, because grief after 80 is not just about mourning someone you've lost. It's about adjusting to a life that looks nothing like what you once imagined. And yes, it's hard. But here's what I admire most about people like her. And like you, you're still here, still standing, still trying. Now, let's talk about another part of aging that sneaks up on you, feeling invisible. You may have noticed that people talk around you instead of to you. Doctors speak to your children like you're not in the room. Strangers offer help before asking if you need it, assuming fragility just because you move a little slower. Even your own family, though well-meaning, may forget that you still have a voice, an opinion, a personality that has lived through more decades than they've seen summers. This can make you question your worth. And I want to stop right here and tell you something important. Your worth has not decreased with age. In fact, it's grown. You carry stories, lessons, and resilience that no one else can match. You are not a burden. You are a library of wisdom. But to feel seen again, you may have to do something many of us were never taught. To ask. Ask to be heard. Ask to be included. Ask your grandson how school is going. And then share a story about how you used to walk 5 miles barefoot just to get to class. Yes, even if he rolls his eyes, it'll stick with him one day. Ask your daughter to teach you something on her phone. Not because you need it, but because shared curiosity builds bridges. You might be thinking, at my age, why should I be the one making the effort? And that's fair. You've already done so much. But let me ask you, would you rather sit in silence or stir the pot and bring back some flavor to your life? Even small changes can bring back light into the day. Like starting your morning with purpose, even if it's just watering a plant, reading a page, or writing a note to yourself, or going outside and saying hello to someone, even if it's just a mailman. The harsh reality is, if we don't make an effort to stay connected, the world will move on without us. But when we stretch our hands, even just a little, the world often reaches back. Growing old doesn't mean fading away. It means finding new ways to shine. Even if your body is slower, your mind and your spirit still have room to grow, to explore, to laugh. So yes, aging past 80 comes with truths that no one likes to talk about. But by facing them head-on with kindness and courage, we reclaim the power to shape the years we still have. You know, one thing that really catches people off guard after they cross 80 is how your world begins to shrink. not just in the physical sense, but in terms of how much you engage with it. The home becomes your main setting, and the routines feel repetitive. Days melt into one another, and it becomes easy to lose track of what day it even is. It's not that life has stopped happening. It's just that it no longer knocks on your door the way it used to. You have to go looking for it. And that takes more effort than before. Take Mr. Haniff, a retired teacher I spoke with not long ago. At 82, he said the hardest part of aging isn't pain or illness. It's a feeling that there's nothing new left to look forward to. And yet, when I asked him about the happiest moment of his week, he smiled and said, "Last Sunday, when my 7-year-old great-grandson asked me to help him with his science project." That one moment lit up his entire week. It reminded him that he still mattered. And that's what we often forget, how powerful even a single meaningful moment can be when the rest of the week feels quiet. If you're in your 80s or beyond, you don't need big vacations or grand events to feel alive. You need connection. You need laughter. You need someone to say, "I'm glad you're here." But here's a reality no one tells you about. Sometimes, to get those moments, you have to create them yourself. That might mean picking up the phone instead of waiting for it to ring. It might mean asking someone to visit rather than hoping they remember. That may sound unfair. After all, haven't you spent a lifetime caring for others, giving without asking? But this is a different season. In this one, it's okay to advocate for your own needs. And speaking of needs, let's talk about the one that gets overlooked the most: mental health. We talk about joint pain, memory loss, and diet, but we rarely speak about the loneliness, the anxiety, the quiet grief that can sneak up on us after 80. Sometimes it's not even sadness. It's just a numbness, a kind of emotional stillness that makes the world feel like it's happening behind a glass wall. You're watching, but not really part of it. There's no shame in admitting that. You've lived through wars, losses, health scares, and global changes. Of course you carry invisible weight, but carrying it alone, that's where the danger lies. We need to start treating our emotional health with the same care as we do our blood pressure or cholesterol. That might mean talking to a professional, sure, but more often, it simply means talking to someone, sharing what's in your heart before it turns into silence. Mrs. Farida, who turned 87 last year, told me something I'll never forget. She said, "When I stopped pretending I was okay all the time, I finally started feeling okay." And that's the truth. You don't have to carry the burden of strength every moment. You're allowed to say, "Today was hard." You're allowed to cry. But you're also allowed to laugh, to dance in your chair, to eat dessert before dinner just because. Now, let's talk about one more thing many seniors quietly struggle with: the fear of becoming a burden. It's that nagging worry that if you ask for too much help or fall too many times or forget too many things, your children will stop seeing you as independent. And let's be honest, it's a tough balance. You want to be respected, but you also need support. But let me offer you a different perspective. Needing help doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Just like you help your kids tie their shoes or held their bikes as they learn to ride, it's their turn now. And accepting help with grace shows incredible strength. It says, "I trust you. I trust myself enough to receive." That's a kind of wisdom that can only come with age. And if you're someone whose children or family aren't there anymore or aren't reliable, that doesn't mean you're alone in the world. There are neighbors, community centers, mosques, or churches, and even kind strangers who are looking for connection just like you are. It may feel vulnerable at first to reach out, but one conversation can be the start of something beautiful. One hello can become a lifeline. You see, the harsh realities of growing older, loss, loneliness, feeling invisible, are real. But so is your ability to adapt, to grow emotionally and to find new meaning. Your body may have slowed down, but your soul is timeless. You are still becoming. You are still learning, teaching, giving. And here's a little secret. Younger people look to you more than you realize. When you smile, when you tell a story, when you share how you got through tough times, they're watching. You are living proof that life goes on, even to the hard parts. That's powerful. That's inspiring. So even if the world feels smaller now, even if the faces around you have changed, your presence still matters. Deeply, profoundly, the world is better with you in it. And that's not just a nice thing to say, it's the truth. There's another truth about growing older that we don't talk about enough, and that's how hard it becomes to trust your own body. After 80, something shifts. You start second-guessing simple things. Can I bend down without getting dizzy? Will I be able to walk up these stairs without losing my breath? Will my legs hold steady when I step out of bed? You used to do these things without thinking. But now, even reaching for something on the top shelf comes with hesitation. It's not just physical. It plays on your confidence. It's like your body has become unpredictable, and that makes every day feel just a little more fragile. But here's what I want you to know. Your body may not be what it was, but it hasn't abandoned you. It's carried you through every chapter of your life, and it's still here, showing up every day. Maybe slower, maybe creakier, but still capable of healing, adapting, and moving forward. And it deserves your kindness. Let's take balance, for example. It's one of the most overlooked challenges in older age. You're walking through the house, and suddenly you feel a wobble. Your heart skips a beat. What if I fall? That one thought can keep you glued to your chair for hours. And yet, the solution isn't just to avoid movement. It's to reintroduce movement, gently, intentionally. Simple things like holding onto a chair while doing small leg lifts or practicing heel-to-toe walking down the hallway. These are not just exercises. They're messages to your brain that say, I'm still in charge here. And every time you move with awareness, you're strengthening that trust in your body again. Slowly but surely. Of course, the fear isn't just about falling. It's about losing independence. And that fear is valid. But avoiding action because of fear only speeds up the very thing we're afraid of. One of the bravest things you can do at this age is say, I may be slower, but I'm not stopping. Another quiet reality many people face after 80 is what I like to call the silence of retirement. Not just a retirement from work, but the retirement from being needed. You've spent decades being the caretaker, the provider, the one people turn to. And now what? That silence can be deafening. You're no longer waking up to alarms or rushing off to deadlines. No one's asking for your advice like they used to. That sense of usefulness starts to slip away, and it hurts in a way words can't always express. But I'm here to tell you, your value didn't retire. It simply changed shape. You may no longer be the breadwinner, but you are still the wisdom keeper. You may not be leading meetings, but you're still leading by example. Just sitting with someone, listening, sharing your memories, that is purpose. That is presence. And that matters more than ever in a world that often forgets to slow down and listen. I once met an 84-year-old woman named Afsana who told me that after her husband passed, she felt like she had nothing left to offer. Her children were busy. Her phone barely rang, and days felt endless. But then she started writing letters to her grandchildren, real letters with her thoughts, her memories, her lessons. At first, no one replied. But over time, those letters became a treasure for her family. Her granddaughter even said it was like getting a private journal full of life secrets. You see, your experiences are not behind you. They're gifts you still carry. And when you share them, you're planting seeds in someone else's future. Let's not forget the emotional weight that comes with saying goodbye to friends. As the years pass, more familiar faces leave us. And while we expect that loss is part of aging, what no one tells you is how lonely it feels to be the one left behind. When someone who knew your childhood, your struggles, your joys, when they're gone, a piece of you goes with them. But even in grief, there's something sacred. The love you shared doesn't disappear. It lives in the stories you tell, the habits you continue, the smile that crosses your face when you think of them. Keeping their memory alive is another way of keeping your spirit alive. So yes, the harsh realities of growing older after 80 are real. The body doesn't cooperate like it used to. People forget to call. Loss becomes more common. But here's the other side of that truth. You are still here. You are still breathing. And that means a chance for joy, for purpose, for peace. It still exists. You don't need to chase the big things. Maybe it's a warm cup of chai on the balcony in the morning sun. Maybe it's an old song that takes you back. Maybe it's the smile of the neighborhood kid who waves at you every day. These moments, small as they may seem, are the fabric of a life well lived. And Don't ever let anyone tell you that your time has passed. If anything, your time is more precious than ever. The world may be spinning fast, but your presence slows it down in the best way. You remind us to pause, to reflect, to cherish. There's a moment in life, somewhere past 80, when you realize that time feels different. The days can feel longer, yet the years fly by. You begin to see life not in terms of goals and achievements, but in moments and meaning. And the truth is, this shift can feel a little lonely. It can feel like the world has moved ahead without you, that your chapter is slowly closing. But let me ask you something. What if this chapter is the most important one of all? You've lived, you've learned, and now you hold something very few people have. The ability to look at life with the kind of clarity that only time can give. That's a rare and powerful thing. The world may overlook it, but that doesn't make it less valuable. In fact, that wisdom is what makes this season of life incredibly meaningful. If you let it be, you see, most people don't realize that emotional strength matters more than physical strength at this age. Muscles may weaken, joints may ache, but the heart, it gets stronger with experience. You weather heartbreaks, disappointments, joys, and miracles. And yet here you are, still standing. That's not weakness. That's resilience. Now, I want to talk about something deeply personal. The feeling of being invisible. Many seniors quietly confess that they feel like they're fading. That people look past them at the grocery store. That doctors rush them through appointments. That family members forget to ask how they are really doing. And that hurts, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a slow, quiet way that chips away at the spirit. But let me remind you of something powerful. You are not invisible. Your worth is not determined by who sees you. It's determined by how you see yourself. So stand tall. Speak up. Wear the outfit that makes you feel good. Say the thing you've been meaning to say. Take up space, not because you have to prove anything, but because you exist, and that is reason enough. And if people around you don't always understand, that's okay. Because you are not here to impress the world. You are here to live your truth. Your journey isn't over. Your purpose didn't expire when the kids grew up, or when the career ended, or when the birthday started feeling quieter. Your life still has depth and beauty and purpose. And maybe, just maybe, your greatest purpose now is to simply be the elder who offers grace in a world that moves too fast. The one who teaches patience by example. The one who tells younger people, it's okay not to have it all figured out. I didn't either. The one who reminds others to be kind, to take care of themselves, to love deeply while they can. You see, old age isn't a punishment. It's a privilege, a badge of survival, a mark of a life fully lived. Not everyone gets to be 80. Not everyone gets to feel the softness of grandchild fingers or smell the air after a summer rain and think, yes, I've smelled the same air for 8 decades and I still love it. There's something so profoundly spiritual about this phase of life, too. You begin to understand the power of stillness. You start to treasure the silence, not as loneliness, but as peace. You begin to forgive, not just others, but yourself. The pressure to be perfect, to hustle, to win, it melts away, and in its place comes a softer, wiser way of being. That is the gift of age. So if today your knees ache and the phone hasn't rung, and you feel like you're just getting through another day, pause, breathe, look around. Find one thing to smile about. Maybe the memory, maybe the photo on the wall, or a beam of sunlight on your hand. That smile is your victory today. Because every smile at 80, 85, 90, it's not taken for granted. It's earned. Let yourself laugh, too. Don't be afraid of joy. Aging doesn't mean you stop having fun. In fact, this is a time to be a little silly, to try something new, to wear colors that make you feel alive. There are no rules left to follow. You've earned the freedom to be exactly who you are, fully, unapologetically. And above all, please remember this. You are not a burden. You are not forgotten. You are not too old to matter. You are a living archive of love, strength, and courage. You are what connects the past to the future. If no one has told you lately, you are appreciated. You are loved. You still belong. And this world is better because you're in it. So whether today feels easy or hard, whether you're surrounded by family or sitting in silence, whether you're feeling strong or a little uncertain. Hold on to this truth. Your story is still being written, and every single page still matters. Thank you for being here with me and for sharing a few moments of your precious time. If you found comfort, hope, or clarity in this message, I'd be honored if you'd share your thoughts below. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt guidance. Just like this. Here's to living your best life, no matter your age. Because you, my friend, are still in the heart of your story, and it's a beautiful one.